Grow with Dr. Audai podcasts. Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of Grow with Dr. Audai podcasts. In today's episode, I'll be talking about how to be in control of your time. But first, what does it mean to be in control of your time? There has been massive discussions and research around how to be more efficient and act more effectively. Whatever we do, we will not go beyond the 24 hours a day, or even the 160 hours a week. With all the applications that help manage time successfully and more effectively, we found ourselves enveloped in 24 hours a day. If we do the maths, we spend between 7 and 8 hours sleeping, 8 and 9 hours working, in the office or even more, 2 to 3 hours spending time with the family, and we might end up with little time for watching the telly. It could not be a generalization, but many people would have the same routine of this life by and large. So, how can we manage time and still enjoy our life? In other words, how can we keep a balance between our professional and personal life? Some years ago, when I used to work as the head of a language department at one of the big schools in Amman, my manager told me this: "Audai, you have great potentials, but you need to be organized." Her words raised a red flag. They were like a wake-up call for me. How come I'm not organized? So I deeply reflected on what she said and started working on an action plan. I would say here that being receptive was much better than being defensive. If what she said to me was said to another person, they might have been very resistant, as I've come across so many people who put more effort into resistance than effort into change. Quite strange, isn't it? But that's the reality. I started surfing the internet about time management. I went through the huge volume of research that talked about time management. The evidence was rich with examples, scenarios, and success stories, but that added little to my time management skills. It was like this until one day I was shopping from the Amazon's platform, and suddenly a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen popped up on my screen. I was looking for books on management, so I thought that the book was a good choice. I bought it with other books and waited impatiently to get it by courier. When it arrived, I remember that I read the first 50 pages on the bed. I was hooked by the topics presented in the book. I kept reading some pages every night, but I then had to stop for some extenuating circumstances. Anyway, I was able to read it within a month. I could notice little difference in my management skills though, but it was completely different when I read it for the second time. Back then, I was developing my reflection skills. I would reflect on anything that deserved a pause and thought. At that time, I started to feel and live with the content of the book. My consciousness of organizing my time started to build up gradually, so I became in more control of time. It's not in the to-do list. It's rather how you reflect about your tasks, duties, chores, etc. and how you set up a time for each. It's when you draw a mind map of what is inside your head and what you want to achieve. Then, at that moment, you are in control of your time. You also learn to say no when you can't help. Yes, saying no is much better than putting yourself under pressure. So, the takeaway is reflection. Try to spend more time thinking of how you are going to get things done rather than rushing into a bleak world. That's all for today. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. For the next topic, I'll be talking about how to deal with difficult people. Have a great time and all the best.